Well, someone has to say it. The millennial relationship reset, polarity collapse, female burnout, and the end of overfunctioning. Why this conversation exists. Let me say this clearly before anyone gets defensive. This is not a gender war. This is not anti men. This is not women are bitter because dating didn't work out. This is a structural reckoning. Millennials didn't fail at relationships. Relationships were forced to replace systems that collapsed and they broke under the weight. And women paid the price first. If you're a millennial woman watching this and you feel tired in your bones, uninterested in dating, unwilling to teach a grown man how to show up, clear that you will not sacrifice your children, body, or future to keep a relationship alive, you are not broken. You are responding accurately to reality. And if you're a man watching this and you feel defensive, dismissed, or quietly anxious, good. That means this conversation is reaching the part that matters because the reset is already happening with or without consent. What actually collapsed and what didn't. Let's get one thing straight. Polarity did not collapse because women became masculine. Polarity collapsed because structure disappeared. Previous generations had marriage as an economic container, fatherhood as enforced responsibility, community accountability, and gender roles that, while flawed, created continuity. Millennials inherited choice without scaffolding, equality rhetoric without enforcement, disappearing wages, raising costs, no shared timelines, and no safety net. So intimacy got overloaded. Love was forced to carry money, trauma, identity, healing, survival, and meaning. That is not romance. This is a systems failure inside the bedroom. No relationship can hold that indefinitely. The female side over functioning is not empowerment. Let's talk about women honestly. Millennial women did not take power, they absorbed collapse. Women were asked to earn income, raise children, manage households, regulate emotions, maintain intimacy, heal trauma, and compensate for absent structure. All while losing institutional support, community buffering, and enforceable reciprocity. So women adapted. They became hyper competent, hyper responsible, hyper aware, and hyper burned out. This is not dominance. This is containment of chaos. Women didn't lead because they wanted to. They led because someone had to. And now they are done. Not angry, not hysterical, done. That's why women are opting out of marriage, dating, motherhood, and emotional labor. And they are teaching younger women to do the same until conditions change. That is not bitterness, that is intelligence. The male side disengagement explained, but not excused. Now, men, yes, masculinity fractured. Men were told don't dominate, but still provide, be emotionally open, but don't be weak, commit, but only if it's perfect, safe, and reversible. Provision stopped guaranteeing authority, security, loyalty, and respect. So many men adapted by minimizing risk. That explains disengagement, but it does not justify it. Because what replaced leadership was delay, avoidance, hoarding of resources, entitlement without provision, and sexual access without obligation. Let's say this plainly. If you want the benefits of adulthood without the burdens of responsibility, you are not opting out of marriage, you are opting out of maturity. And women see it. The marriage question men keep asking. Men keep asking, what do women bring to the table? Here's the real answer, and it's why women are walking away. Women already bring income, childcare, emotional regulation, household continuity, planning, and consequence management. And statistically, women already pay more in time, labor, health, and lost opportunities. So when a man demands 50-50 while contributing less domestic labor, avoiding child responsibility, hoarding resources, and resisting commitment, that is not fairness, that is extraction. Women are not refusing equality, they are refusing unpaid system maintenance. Fatherhood accountability, where this gets real. Let's talk about the line women will not cross anymore. Children. Women cannot let consequences unfold naturally when children are involved because the consequences land on the mother, the child, and their future. Men who walk away from fatherhood do not experience collapse. Women do. That's why courts exist. That's why enforcement exists. That's why women stop trusting promises. If your absence does not cost you, you are never carrying anything, and women are done covering for that. What happens when women stop overfunctioning? Here's what actually changes when women stop compensating. Relationships end, situationships collapse, men face consequences for the first time, standards rise, timelines slow, fewer relationships form, but they are real. This is not punishment, it's reality reasserting itself. Women are no longer holding systems together with their bodies. The reset and what survives. So, what actually survives this reset? Not hierarchy, not nostalgia, and not submission. What survives is reciprocal responsibility. Modern partnership now requires consistency, presence, provision, continuity, not just money, shared consequences, and accountability without coercion. Women are not asking men to dominate, they are asking men to show up. And when men do, they will find women who are relaxed, receptive, feminine, and warm because it's finally safe again. Women didn't end marriage, they stopped carrying collapse alone. The system already reset. The only question left is who is willing to grow up inside it and who gets left behind. What stepping up actually looks like. This is not an attack on men. If you're watching this, understand something first. This is not anti men. This is not shaming masculinity. This is not asking you to become submissive, softer, or less powerful. This is about ending confusion because a lot of men right now are saying women don't want marriage anymore. Dating is rigged. Nothing I do is enough. And why bother committing? And the truth is uncomfortable but simple. Women didn't leave because men became weaker. They left because responsibility stopped being reliable. Why women don't trust any men anymore. Structural, not personal. Women aren't opting out because of bad vibes. They're opting out because they've learned repeatedly that promises do not hold, presence is inconsistent, responsibility is negotiable, and consequences fall on them, not you. That doesn't mean you did all of this. It means the system trained women to expect collapse. So they adapted. And adaptation looks like self reliance, risk avoidance, emotional shutdown, and refusing to build with someone who might disappear. If you want trust, you don't argue women out of it. You grow the conditions that create the distrust. Stepping up is not performing masculinity. Let's clear something up immediately. Stepping up is not talking louder, asserting dominance, demanding submission, quoting masculinity podcast, expecting admiration for bare minimum effort. Women are not looking for alpha energy, they are looking for continuity. And here's what continuity actually means: you do what you say consistently. Your effort does not disappear when things get uncomfortable. Your values don't change when commitment enters the room. And your presence does not fluctuate based on convenience. That's it. No theatrics required. Provision isn't just money, but it is still required. This is where a lot of men get defensive. Provision is not just a paycheck, but money still matters. Provision today means financial contribution that reduces stress, not just covers your half. Planning, energy, decision, follow through, logistical reliability, and emotional steadiness. Here is the hard truth. If a woman has to plan everything, anticipate problems, regulate emotions, carry the mental load, and absorb the consequences, then she is already the provider, and she doesn't need a partner for that. Stepping up means lightening the load without being asked. Why women do not accept 50-50 the way men think. A lot of men say, I just want things to be equal. But equal to what? If she gives birth, loses income during pregnancy, takes career hits, carries the majority of childcare, absorbs social judgment, and manages continuity, then 50-50 financially is not equality. It is imbalance disguised as fairness. Stepping up means understanding asymmetry and choosing responsibility anyway. That is maturity. Fatherhood is a line you don't cross. This is where women draw a hard boundary. You can walk away from a relationship, but you cannot walk away from responsibility for a child. Men who delay commitment, avoid marriage, resist accountability, rely on court enforcement, and minimize financial responsibility are not misunderstood. They are being accurately assessed. Stepping up means planning for children before they exist, understanding the cost emotionally, financially, physically, and temporally, accepting that fatherhood is not optional once life is created. Women do not gamble children on potential. What actually re-engages women? Here's the part men rarely hear clearly. Women do not want to control you, they want to relax. They relax when responsibility is visible. Accountability does not need enforcement. Effort does not require reminders. Leadership is calm, not performative. Commitment doesn't feel like a trap. That's when femininity returns naturally, not because she is submitting, but because she finally does not have to hold everything together. Why some men will be left behind. This part matters. Some men will not make this transition, not because they can't, but because they won't. They will blame women, blame feminism, blame the economy, blame dating apps, wait for conditions to improve without changing themselves. Those men will feel increasingly invisible, not punished, just outgrown. Women are not negotiating their futures anymore. The choice, excuse me, here's the choice, plain and simple. You can step into responsibility with dignity or opt out and live with the consequences, and the consequences will come and catch up to you. No one is forcing marriage. No one is demanding submission. No one is returning to the old system. But adulthood still has a cost. And the men who will pay it willingly, they will not be lonely. They will not be unwanted. They will not be replaced. They will be chosen. Not because they demanded it, but because they earned trust again. Stepping up is not about being needed. It is about being reliable. And reliability is the new polarity.